Hey everybody, this is Rob from Revelation Rain. I just want to talk a few minutes about local unsigned bands and the prospect of having a good turnout when you play out live. There are a lot of music groups that I belong to on Facebook, Facebook pages I should say, which help to support and promote local bands. And I saw a post go up today, something to the effect of, there's no such thing as local music because all music starts locally. And that's true. Take any band. The Beatles, Elvis, Kiss, Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, Motley Crue, they all started somewhere. And they built a following because they played out live. And when you play out live, that's the hope, is to expose people to your music and then build that following. I know that it's unfortunate, but things have kind of changed over the past 10 or 15 years. The live music scene is not what it used to be. A lot of people follow us on Facebook and have subscribed to our YouTube channel, and that's very, very much appreciated. And I always think to myself, if even a fraction of those people would come to our live show, we would get a really good turnout. And when we play live, we usually get a pretty good turnout, but nothing like how it used to be. You go back 10 or 15 years ago, and when Friday night and Saturday night came up, people were ready to go out and check out new bands. Local bands, and I'm not talking about cover bands or tribute bands. I'm not going to talk too much about those. I'm talking about bands that play original music, bands that are creative enough to write their own songs. And people would still go and see a band not knowing any of their material, didn't know any of their songs, may not even know the band, but they knew there was a band playing at their local establishment, whether it be a bar or a club or what have you. And they were ready to go and have a good time and listen and give a band a chance. Fast forward to where we are now, and there are not as many people who are willing to do that, and I don't understand it. You have to remember that bands play live, yes, because it's fun and because they want to express themselves, play their songs, etc. But it's also a job. It takes a lot of work to put a show together. There's a lot of equipment that has to be moved. You have to do sound checks. You're usually sharing the stage with one or more other bands, so you have to coordinate with those other bands to make things move. You're dealing with a booking agent. You're dealing with the owner of the venue. There's a lot of work that goes into putting together even a local show. And when you put all that stuff together and then you get a medium turnout, it can be disheartening. And I know that, people are busy, people have lives, I get all of that. But most people still have Friday nights and Saturday nights open. And local bands appreciate when you come to watch them more than any other band. Okay? National acts, yes, of course they appreciate that you're showing up. Absolutely. But it's almost inherent that people will show up to see a Kiss show because they've got almost 50 years of history of building a fan base. Okay, local bands don't have that benefit, and they don't have that national exposure. They don't have the same access that a national act would have. So local bands appreciate you at their shows much more than you can even realize. Having people in an audience, having a good time and cheering you on and appreciating what you're doing, it's fuel for the local band. It's fuel for us to put on an even better show. Which brings me to my next point. When you come to see, I can't speak for other local bands. I'm speaking strictly for Revelation Rain. Okay, and we played with some really good other local bands. Fearless always comes to my mind. We played with a couple of bands at our last show that were really good. So we've done a lot of shows with a lot of different bands, all of them really good. But I think the difference between us and other local bands is the live show. Grant and I, Grant of course being the drummer for Revelation Rain, Grant and I grew up on bands like Kiss, Motley Crue, Striper, and for me, Elvis. And these were bands that put on a show, who were not content to go up there and, wearing their shorts and t-shirt that they would have worn to Walmart earlier that day. These were guys who dressed like a band, looked like a band, and acted like a band. When you went to see Kiss, they didn't stand still at the microphone, strumming their guitars, singing the songs. They were running around, they had fire, they had pyro, they had all kinds of stuff happening, because when you go to a live show, you're not just bringing your ears, you're bringing your eyes too. And when I go to see a live act, I don't want to just hear the great songs. Show me something. Tickets are expensive. Give me everything you've got. Excuse me. So that's our philosophy. And that's been the philosophy of this band from day one. We don't look like other bands. Okay? We don't roll up onto stage like we just got off the bus. We dress the part. And it's not just dressing the part. Maybe that's the wrong expression. It's what we've grown up with. It's what we've been influenced by. It's a part of us. It's like everybody's got different facets to their personality. And when you get up on stage, that part of your personality comes forward. That's the part that, is like an inner inhibition. You get to let that thing out. So that's what it is. It's not premeditated by any means. It comes naturally for us. And when you see our live show, and this is not disrespect toward any other band that we've played with, because they're all, like I said, fantastic. But hands down, we put on a better show than any other local band that I've seen. We put a lot of time and money into our live show. We're always looking for ways to make the show better. Whether it's more fog machines, whether it's another laser, whether it's some pyro, whether it's some sort of an effect, whatever it may be, just to give people something more and to set us apart from all the other bands. And like I said, what we wear on stage is far different than what the other bands are wearing. And people notice that. People will stop us and say, wow, you guys look like a band. You guys, those clothes are cool. Where do you get those clothes? Because it's not the stuff you buy at your local clothing store. This is stuff that we have to search out and find, okay? Because we care. So I said all that to say this. We have a show coming up Friday, January 21st at Mulligan's in Grand Rapids. It's actually, for a band that hails from Grand Rapids, this is our first show in Grand Rapids. And so it's kind of special to us. And we're looking to get a really good turnout. There's 3 great bands on this that will be at this show. Fearless, a band called Repeat, and then of course Revelation Rain. And like I said, if even only a fraction of the number of people that we have on our Facebook and our YouTube would show up at this show, we would have a really good turnout. Now, the other bands are going to draw as well. Even if a fraction, only a small fraction of their following on Facebook and YouTube showed up, we would pack that place. It's on a Friday night. And like I said, I know people are busy. I know that people work all week. They're tired sometimes. But you have to understand the amount of time and effort that local bands put into putting these shows together. All for the sake of entertaining you to take you away from all the stuff that you've been dreading all week, whether it's school or work or whatever. This is your escape. And it's a chance for a band, like I said, to expose people to their music, to expose people to their live show, to build that following. And we feed off that energy from a crowd. So I say all this because it would be nice if you're listening to this video, and if you're in Michigan, especially if you're in the Grand Rapids area, but it doesn't matter. You could be from Detroit, you could be from Cadillac, whatever. We would appreciate if you would come down and watch this show. We'd appreciate if you would come down and show that you're having a good time and give us some honest feedback. That's how a band gets better. You gauge how the audience reacts. It's just it's a duality. It's a give and take between the band and the audience. So anyway, the only way a band is ever going to make it to the next level, okay, is if people will show up to the live shows. That's the only way. That's how a band will build a reputation as a good live act. That's how a band builds their following. That's how a band exposes their music to the masses. Now imagine if when Kiss or the Beatles or whomever first started out, nobody wanted to go to shows because they're too tired, or it's a few miles farther than they like to travel. Those bands would have never gotten off the ground. How would the world have changed? How would the world be different if there was no Elvis Presley? If there was not the Beatles, or Led Zeppelin, or Black Sabbath, or Kiss, or Motley Crue, or Metallica? What if none of those bands were ever given a chance by everyday people? Nobody would show up to their shows. Nobody would support them. They couldn't build a following. How would our world be different today? How would your world be different? What's in your music catalog? Think of your favorite band or your favorite artist, and imagine if they were never able to get in front of an audience. They were never able to build that following. They were never able to get their music out there for people to hear. There's a good chance you would not have those CDs in your collection right now. And that's why I'm saying it's so important to support your local live bands, because that is the only way to get the music out there. Yes, there's YouTube. Yes, we have different means and channels that back then they didn't have. I get that. But still, the most effective and immediate way to reach someone is in person at a live show. Okay? So, I'm not trying to, harp on anybody. I'm not trying to beg anybody by any means. Like I said, we do pretty well drawing people in. Fearless has a good following. I've been told that Repeat has a good following. But I just remember the days when I lived in Grand Rapids, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we would go see local bands. The places were packed. And like I said, these weren't cover bands doing their favorite, Leonard Skinner or whatever songs. These weren't tribute bands. These were local bands playing original music. And they would pack those places because people were willing to give a band a chance. They were willing to spend the $5 at the door to watch 3 or 4 bands pour their hearts out for 45 minutes to an hour. Okay? I don't think it's that much of a sacrifice, to be honest. Okay? So anyway, just wanted to say that, make a short video. Now, like, it's not real short, I'm pushing 15 minutes, but wanted to make a video about the importance of supporting local live bands. Grand Rapids is a big city. Second biggest city in Michigan. So if you're watching this because you're on our YouTube channel, if you're in the area, then come to the show. If you're not in the area, then share this video so that more people in the Grand Rapids area who may not be subscribed to our channel just yet will see the video, and hopefully they'll turn out. We do a lot of promotion. We do a lot of promoting, okay? But there's never too much promotion. The more people that are sharing these videos and speaking out about these shows, the better, right? All right, guys. We hope to see you at the show. Again, it's Friday, January 21st at Mulligan's in Grand Rapids. The doors open probably 9 o'clock. First band goes on at 10. All right? We look forward to seeing you there. Take care and God bless.